Hello everybody, and welcome back to Town to City, where the sun is rising on a new day as we continue to develop our town and try to upgrade it so that we can make lives better for the people who live here. In our last episode, we unlocked a few new things and we built this really neat little high-rise residential area over here next to this pond, complete with lily pads and a playground and some trees and gardens. And we also got started over here in what I'm going to be calling our new entertainment district. We put in a lot of food stalls and decorations, and I'm hoping that we can put some things in here for the people to have fun with, like games and maybe some fairground things, as well as some luxury goods. In our last episode, we did manage to unlock Village, which means we have all this new research that we can do to try to improve our town. Now I'm looking at this and I see that the plaza decorations, the city hall, and the removal of rocks require 500 or 450 research points. And down here, I can only max out at 400. So it makes sense to me that the first thing I would do is to unlock the new research equipment upgrade, because it's going to increase the maximum amount of research points that I can have in my area. So while I'm decorating and doing other stuff, we'll be able to acquire enough research points to get the rest of this stuff open. So let's do that now. And that pretty much uses up all of our research points. So we're going to have to wait a while before we can do anything else. Our research center is currently maxed out with people, and it's just a matter of time. It is waiting until we can get enough research points to unlock more stuff. But let's look at our research here and see if we can do a little planning ahead, because I find that with these city builders, the best option is to know where you're going before you go there. Now we're going to be able to unlock the puppet theater, the street organ, the ball throw, and this thing down here, which is a kiosk theater. And these things are all going to go over here in my research area. This is what I actually designed this for, was to put in kind of a midway park entertainment area. So I know we're going to want to unlock those pretty soon, but I'm also getting a little bit held up by the limited number of decorations that I've unlocked so far. Like, for example, I don't really like these flower planters that I put behind the food stalls over here, but I didn't really have any other options to do a good job. So are there any other, so there's plaza decorations that we can unlock at 450, and that's going to take a while, but we can just let the game run for a while. That's one of the nice things about this game, is if you just let it run for a while, as long as your happiness is high enough, it's not going to be the end of the world. Upgrading the roads would also be handy, because we are going to be expanding our town even farther away from the train station, and so the warehouses are going to need better transport options for getting goods to where we need to go. Because I think it'd be kind of fun to continue this road up here onto the bluffs and build up on the hills today as we do our designing. There's also a few green spots around here that I want to fill in with decorations once we get more things unlocked, and I do need to decorate the pond here in the center of town and make a beautiful entryway as people come in from the train station into our town. So while we're waiting for our research points to accumulate, why don't we see if we can make this area in front of the train station a little bit more attractive and appealing to people who are moving in. So my thought process here is to turn this side of this grassy area maybe into like a waiting plaza with like some benches and tables and things like that where people can sit around, and we can envision that they're enjoying a nice coffee or a drink as they're waiting for the train. And then over here, I'm going to put in like a little dirt path and just make this into kind of like a little woodland area where people can just take a little walk and take a break. And then we'll have to put in some fences to keep people separated from the train tracks for sure. But I think this should look pretty nice. So let's get started on this side over here and put our little waiting plaza in where people can enjoy a cappuccino or a latte or a cold drink while they sit and read a book and wait for their train to come. And I think I want to change the ground to something a little bit more, I don't know, looks like a little more developed. So maybe the stone? We'll turn off dithering. I think I want to have sharp edges for this just to make it look nice. We can make that a little bit bigger, and we'll just drop in a stone patio kind of area here. All right, beautiful. And now we can grab our picnic tables. We'll do the lighter colored ones because it kind of matches the lighter stone. And yeah, I think I just want to drop a few of these in. I wish I had umbrellas, and maybe those will get unlocked later. Some kind of way to put shade in. I'm going to have to put some trees in, I think, to give them some shade, but I think we can do that. There we go. Got those put in. Now, how can I provide some shade for this area? Because it's just sitting in the sun and I don't have umbrellas. So let's take a look at the medium trees. Those are too big. Can we do something with these trees to kind of shade it in? Like put some trees here so that when the sun is coming from that direction and then in the afternoon when the sun switches direction, maybe we'll get some shade that way. That could work. And we can use our little technique here of getting the dirt and a round brush and making a small circle. Turn on dithering. That's interesting looking. I wasn't expecting it to be orange. What is going on here? Dirt. There we go. Okay. Small little 1.5 circle. We'll turn dithering off. We'll make a circle that has a radius of 1 and we'll just put that there. Come up and put one here. Maybe we'll put one like a half circle here and we can put like a tree along the side. Yeah, I think that'll work. We'll put one in the corner kind of like that. And I'll put one in the corner kind of like that. And then I think what we can do is we can grab our decorations. We can grab our small trees. And which one of these small trees do I like the best? I kind of like the one here that has like different texture in the leaves just because it looks a little bit more fun. That one looks too piney. That one's a little too big. I think we're gonna go with this one. I think if I just drop those in like this, that could provide a little bit more shade as the day goes on, and later on we can put umbrellas over these things if we ever get umbrellas. And then we have to come in and we have to figure out a way to separate this off from everything else to give it a planter feel. And so what I want to do, I think, is take the single flowers, and we're going to go yellow this time. And I'm just going to go around the bottom of the tree, just hitting the Z and X buttons to kind of rotate these flowers around just to give them a little bit of a random look. And we're just going to cover a ring around the tree to separate the tree from the area and make it a no walking zone. I think it's about all we can fit in. Make it a little more rounded there. Okay, good. And we'll do the same to all the rest of these trees. So the reason I decided to go with the ground painting tool instead of the pathway tool is because I find that if you have the pathway, it turns the flowers into these little potted plants. I don't want that. I want it to look like it's coming out of the ground. So while the pathway does give a raised edge, makes it look a little bit more like a planter, it makes it more difficult to put things around the trees as far as decorations go. All right, so we got our flowers put in, we got our trees put in, we got our picnic tables put in. And now we need to separate this just a little bit from the roadway. So we're going to grab ourselves a fence. Now, which fence do I want to use? We could use a little wooden fence, but I kind of like the rails for something like this. We're just going to draw this like that. We're going to drop it in. We'll move this over a little bit to make it straight. And we're going to put a gap in so that people can actually get into the area. We're not trying to keep people away. We're just trying to give it a feeling of separation so it's a little more relaxing as people are waiting for the train. All right, and I think the last thing we got to do is we got to put some lights in so that at night people can use this area. And I left this big gap here just for the specific reason of putting a couple of lampposts in at the entrance. And then perhaps we can fit a couple of lampposts right outside on the sidewalk of these trees. And that should complete, at least for now with the decorations that we have, our sitting area in front of the train station. So now let's take our eyes and cast them over here and put in this little nature walk area that I want to do. And for that, we're going to need a dirt path. We're gonna have to set our brush to quite small. I'm thinking like a 0.5 brush. Nope, too small. Maybe like a one size brush. That'll work. And we're gonna free form, and we're just gonna draw just a basic shape in here that we can kind of wind around and use for a nature walk. We gotta separate this off from the train tracks, so we're gonna go with a tall stone wall, just to reduce the amount of noise that you would normally get from a train passing through. And now let's put some decorations in. All right, so we have our parkway here decorated. I decided to put a little slide in here just because I figured if parents are waiting for the train, they might have a need to for their kids to do something and entertain themselves. Put in a bunch of benches for people to sit at, got a bunch of flowers and some regular bushes and trees, and I think this is going to be a great way for people to relax when they're waiting on a train and not have to worry so much about what they're going to do with their time if they arrive early or their train is delayed. As someone who takes the train quite a bit where I live, I think it would be really nice if the train stations in my area had something like this. I would love it. And then over here, which is the basic decorations that we have, we've started a plaza where people can sit and enjoy a drink or get a coffee or just read a book or whatever they want to do. A little bit of shade, a little bit of flowers. And as we get more decorations, I'm hoping that we can come back to this and add more to it. So while we were decorating our train station, we accumulated a lot of research points. So let's take a look at the research menu and see what we can grab. We got a lot of different options here. We have all of the theater and entertainment stuff, which I think I probably want to unlock now just because I want to decorate that entertainment district we put in earlier, and that would give me time to save up more research points to get more stuff. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. So I want to get the puppet theater, and we'll unlock that. We're going to get the street organ, we'll unlock that, and we have enough to get the ball throw. And then we're going to have to wait for the kiosk theater for our research to gather up again. But with those three things, let's come over here to this entertainment district that we put in and start thinking about how we want to do our fun and games. All right, so what are the sizes of these things? All right, so that's that size, that's that, and that's that. So not bad. So I think the kiosk, once we get it unlocked, is going to go over here in this big spot. So we have to plan ahead and think about where we're going to put the kiosk in relation to the other games. This area here in the front is eventually going to turn into kind of a just a plaza sitting area once it unlocks some more decorations. We're still just kind of waiting for the game to catch up with what we want to do. So a puppet theater, people are going to want to stand around the fountain, so we're not going to butt it up against that, but the puppet theater could definitely go over here in the corner. I think something like this. We want to have it kind of inviting so that when people walk up to this area they see this stuff. So maybe we'll rotate it around and we'll do something like this, and we'll grab a street organ and we'll do something like this. Not a bad start, and let's go ahead and do some decorating. So while we were building this little entertainment area, we earned enough research points to go ahead and get the final piece, the kiosk theater that we want. So we're going to go ahead and research that, and we're going to pop it in and see how it looks. So the kiosk theater is quite large, and it needs to have an opening for people to be able to get in. But I wanted to include the kiosk theater in this entertainment district. So we're going to stick it up here in the corner, keeping it away from the fountain because people want to be able to sit around the fountain, of course. And we're just going to drop it in right there. And people should be able to access that because of the plaza walkway that we put in. So that's not bad looking. So let's get that thing decorated up and completed in, and we'll see how it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our entertainment district put in with some of the new stuff that we discovered and unlocked, and I think it's looking really sharp. We kind of got it separated off with these little walls here where you got the flowery archways you can walk in. We got the performance gazebo surrounded by some beautiful bushes, and all of the cool entertainment stuff's put in. There's seating for people to enjoy. There's some picnic tables where they can bring a drink or a meal over and just enjoy themselves. And once we get some more stuff unlocked, we'll probably add a little bit more to this, but I really, really like this as an addition to our very, very cool entertainment district. So let's zoom out a little bit and take a look and see if it matches. And I think it does pretty well. And as the sun comes up over our city, we've got more research points, and it's time for us to check out some more stuff. Let's see what we can unlock. Research. What are we going to research? We can do a bistro, which would be kind of fun to have like a little coffee shop sandwich place nearby the entertainment district. A barber could be nice, I suppose. The city hall is very attractive, but we're not quite ready for that kind of thing. I want to upgrade the roads for sure. So let's go ahead and unlock that. And you can draw over previously built roads to upgrade them. Upgrading roads is expensive, but significantly reduces the transport costs of warehouse. Okay, well that's nice. Money's not an issue. I'm constantly maxed out on money, so we'll do the plaza decorations next, I think, while I do some road upgrades. All right, so we got our warehouses here, and I think I want to try to upgrade those. So we got our upgrade button here to upgrade. Whoa, that's kind of cool. It's really big. Can we? They had the autumn update, which made the brush mechanics change a little bit, so the sizes are different. So I'm trying to figure out what the new size. Apparently, there's a bug in the game where I can't see the size of the road. So let me turn that off. So let's try giving these an upgrade, and we'll see what happens. They weren't kidding. It's expensive, but we got the money, so let's get these upgraded. Well, it didn't take long for me to run out of money. I'm going to go ahead and let the game run for a while and get some more money back, and we're going to finish upgrading these roads because when you upgrade roads, apparently it makes everything ugly, and so I'm going to have to upgrade everything, it looks like. This will be fun. All right, so we got all of our roads upgraded, at least the main roads, the big ones here. And it did release a lot of workers from the warehouses that I was able to move to other places. So it does make the warehouses work better. Unfortunately, I don't know how I quite feel about the way these roads connect. It's pretty ugly, I think, the way the improved road just stops before the brick road. And I'm not necessarily ready to go through and draw over every single road that I have in town quite yet. I kind of like the brick look. So we're just gonna stick with main roads being upgraded for now, and we'll see how things go. We get to research some more because in the time it took me to upgrade those roads, I managed to get all of the research points that I could ever want and need. So let's go ahead and get the plaza decorations. And we have enough research points that I think we're gonna go ahead and grab that bistro too and see what we can do. All right, how big is the bistro? I don't know, let's find out. Taking a look at the space that we have available, I'm thinking this empty space here that separates the two sections of towns would be a nice place to put the bistro, and then later on we can come back with some more restaurants and things as we unlock them. So the bistro, I think, is going to go here, and it's going to be on the main road. As people travel up to the entertainment area, they can also get something to eat. I'm going to put it right there. Now it is time to decorate this sucker. All right, so it looks like we got a bistro put in. We made it quite homey and warm, I think, with all the flowers and all of the bushes and trees and things. And I even went so far as to put a little patio on the outside with some new umbrellas that I unlocked in the decoration patch and put some extra seating out there and then separated it off with the trees. And I think this looks like a nice little place. I think I would enjoy having a meal here. I don't know if you guys would or not, but the problem we have now is putting this in required a lot of workers, and I had to pull every single worker off the research center, and I even upgraded a couple of houses and dropped some new families in, and we still have more demand than we have workers. So I think it's time for us to put in another housing development so we can get some more people into our city and enjoy having those workers filling things in. I hope you liked the bistro. Let me know in a comment if you enjoyed it, or if there's something else you would do differently with it. But I like the look that we got here. I think the colors all match together quite nicely. All right, so we got all of our research done. I went ahead and saved up some time, and I got all of the stuff in the village menu unlocked. And the city hall is going to be very, very important because I want to build our new housing community around this structure. The city hall, I think, is going to go up here on this hill overlooking the town. And in front of it, there's going to be a plaza area slash decorative, restful gardening area. And then all throughout here, I'm going to try, if I can, to create a much more structuredized and grid-based housing system, because I feel like as the village down here is a little bit more flowing and organic, as the city grows and becomes more affluent and things, and they start building things like city halls and city structures and whatnot, I feel like things would get a little bit more organized and more grid-like and a little bit more city-oriented, and it's also going to be more densely populated. And I'm going to try to make room for shops and things, but I want a lot of people living in this area. So let's go ahead and get started by putting things in and seeing how we can get this sorted out. City Hall is going to be first, and I want to leave a lot of space for a road to come through here and also for there to be a decorative area in front of it. We're going to angle it, I think, a little bit like that. I'm going to drop it in right here. Okay, then we're going to pause the game again because I like building in daylight. And here we go. We have a city hall. So now city hall is going to need, the road is going to follow the curve of the mountain, and there's going to be like a driveway that comes up from city hall. This is also going to be a main thoroughfare that's going to become part of the grid system. So let me draw in the road and see what I can come up with. All right, guys, so my roadway's put in, and now it's time to start thinking about how I want to get the houses installed. We'll come back and decorate City Hall in a minute, but I'm more interested in working out the housing. This is going to turn into, I hope, and we'll see as the research goes what I have to do, but I'm thinking around this lake, I want this to turn into row housing that's going to be like very upscale and fancy. So what I would like to do would be to have all the houses facing away from this lake, and maybe even just have them right on the front of this road here and just put in a whole bunch of them. And we're going to start out by facing City Hall. So I think I'm going to go like this, and we're going to randomize for now. And this is going to turn into a high density downtown style area. All right, so that's going to be a lot of housing, and I'm immediately going to turn these into second floor buildings. And then what I'm thinking about doing is incorporating into this design some basic commercial shopping areas that kind of have pathways that make little plazas back into here. So let me see what I can do with that, because they are definitely going to need shops. And that's going to give them like a little shopping plaza for all this residential area here. And I'm going to decorate this out a little bit. I'm going to add a bistro, we'll add the barber, we'll add a lot of the shops in here because we're going to have a lot of population in this area. And I'm also going to do a little bit of decorating, but as soon as the sun comes up, I don't want to do it in the dark. All right, got our row houses installed and decorated. The decorations are getting a little redundant, but I think we'll unlock more and we can come back and do some touch up later. I added in like some little city sitting spots here using the stone texture for the ground to give kind of a paved look. And I did the same thing over here. There's just like a little sitting area where people can sit in the city. And then behind here, we've got the plaza with all of the food stalls put in. But food stalls are not going to be enough. They're also going to want some apparel and things like that. So we're going to have to find a place to put in some businesses as well. And I think that I do want to try to incorporate that into this area so we can keep it all together. So let's take a look at how we want to do that. Well, all right, we're finally getting our city center put in. We got our barber shop and our apparel place, and I'm really happy with how the bistro turned out. I went for kind of a pub with an outdoor garden seating area, and I like the way that it backs up to the lake over here and has the lily pads and the bollards and the lighting and things, and I think it looks really, really sharp and it's really, really inviting. So basically all we have to do now is get some people to move in and fill this all up, and we also have to build the park area around City Hall. But so far, things are coming along very nicely, and I love being able to detail in this game. It's so much fun. All right, so I moved City Hall around and I painted in all this area with stone because I have an idea for something I want to do using the kiosk theater as kind of a centerpiece garden for City Hall. And to do that, I'm going to need to line up this thing, get it put in, and then I'm going to use some geometric shaping to create what I hope is going to be a really neat garden. Let's see how this goes. I wish this game had a copy and paste because now I got to do that a few more times. All right, so we got those put in, and now I'm thinking I want to put like a little tiny tree in the middle of each one. And then we're gonna put flowers in. And I wanna do high contrast with the stones, so I'm thinking these red ones are gonna look beautiful. And we're going to just fill this whole area in as much as I can with these beautiful flowers. Super high contrast, that's the goal. All right, then we gotta put some pathways in, gotta put some benches in, and we'll decorate this out with some light posts. All right, so what do you think? We've got our city hall put in with our little garden area out front, which I think looks incredible. I'm very happy with that. I love the contrast, I love the decorations, I love the way it's all set up, and we got plenty of space around City Hall to add more things in. We've got our housing set up, we've got some shops put in, and now it's time to just fast forward a bit, get some people from the train station who want to move in, and see if the people really like the area that we just built. I'm learning a lot about how to detail, and I'm getting super excited the more and more I play this game, so let's get this place put in and see how it goes. I tried filling up the jobs, but we have a problem. I seem to not have enough people to work in my town, so I am gonna have to put in some more houses. And that's not a problem because this whole area is going to just be turned into a high density residential zone. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and start slapping some more houses in along this street right here. I think it's time we can probably start moving some people in. All right, it looks like we got everybody moved into houses where they belong. We've got all of the working stuff figured out, and we got a lot done in this episode. We managed to add some new things to our entertainment district and make things a little bit more exciting for the people who live here. We also managed to get a new neighborhood started with some high density residential that I'm hoping is going to be luxurious in the future, with some new businesses, some shops, housing, and all built around this beautiful, beautiful lakeside view. We got everybody moved in where they need to be, and this has increased our population by quite a bit. And I love all of the new detailing techniques that I am learning. And we also managed to get this beautiful garden and gazebo and city hall put in, and that looks amazing. I love all the decoration tools we have. I love all the detailing, and it's so much fun. Creativity is the only limit that you have to what you can accomplish. We have plenty of space here on the side where we can add more things as we unlock them, and I think it is now time for us to see what the next step of our village is going to be. So let's go ahead and hit the button and find out. Fireworks go off again, I bet. And look at that, now we got a clock in our train station. Things are looking good. Housewares and more research. That's gonna be fun. You have unlocked a new level, Font Barak. Font Barak's fertile grounds offer the perfect environment to learn about farming. All right, well, you take a look at this. We have new regions we are unlocking, and we're gonna be able to do some more things in our next episode. That is pretty cool. Now, you may have noticed that the town still has the name Bellevue. I would love to have suggestions from you guys on what we could name this town. We had one suggestion in our last episode, but I'm looking forward to having more, so in the comments, hit me up, tell me what we should call this town, and I am open to whatever you guys think is best. But that's all we have time for today. We're gonna be checking out the farming stuff in the next episode, but for now, we're gonna have to head off. And as the sun sets on our beautiful town, it looks like we are completely out of time for today. So until next time, I'll catch y'all later.